Justin,
Hey, how you doing, Garr?
good brother. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you.
Awesome, man. How are the sports games this morning?
Uh, Good. I'm doing this. It's a self-development type of course, and unfortunately, it's at the same exact time as my son's game. So I missed this week. But next week I'll be going because it's his last week. So,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
but I was late because I was making my lunch. I didn't have a chance to eat this morning, so I made some food.
Oh, gotcha.
Hope that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah, sure, please. What's the self-development course you're doing?
It's a lady here locally. She created a company called Be the Change.
Okay.
And so it's magnetized prioritization, I think it's called. It's kind of like the overall theme, but it's yeah, just self-development. So figuring out, like, you know, the things, why we act the way we act and what our strengths and our weaknesses are. So we did the Clifton Strengths program.
Oh, gotcha. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we did that, and so we're going off of our top five. We're using our top five as kind of our baseline of the things to focus on and ones to strengthen the most, because those are our top five strengths. So
Yep.
yeah.
I'm just taking a note here because that reminded me of something. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's important to know your strengths and weaknesses, how to flow in the strengths, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that God showed me years ago when it comes to business is focus on my strengths and staff my weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So do you got, normally when I jump on these, I usually go right into questions. Like, do you got questions for me as far as, I know you had said kind of your biggest thing is the financial piece, right?
Yeah, more or less. Just the franchise fee type, but yeah.
Okay. So if money wasn't an issue, as far as a fireside opportunity, like everything makes sense and you see what we're doing and
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. I was kind of in and out during that webinar. I didn't get a chance to watch the replay, but I following you and, you know, talking with you and some of our groups and stuff. I like the information you've presented, and you know, the background that you have and the heart for the reason why. It's just a matter of making sure that what you guys present and how it's presented is, as far as myself as the, would I be considered the franchisee? Is that what it is?
yeah, franchisee. Yeah.
Okay. Like what is allowed or required of me? So with that, I guess I'll say my biggest thing is, would it be my business has changed out of Kingdom Campers to being a franchise, the Fireside, or would I be Kingdom Campers powered by, or whatever, by Fireside?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, honestly, that's a very common question that you ask. So, you know, usually what I say is, hey, if somebody's got their company and branding and stuff like that in place and you want to continue with that, you know, that's definitely up to you. I like what you said. They're powered by Fireside. That's kind of cool. And then usually what I say on the other side of that is, you know, do you feel like what you have in place as far as your, you know, branding and marketing and all that kind of stuff is something necessarily worth holding on to, opposed to, you know, a nationally trademark, you know, company that's in, you know, how many ever states we're in now, you know, because the downside for you would be of, you know, too much focusing on the Kingdom Campers is literally we take over your social media for you. We're doing your blog posts for you. We're putting out videos for you. Like if you go onto one of our franchisees Facebook page, you'll see several times a week. I mean, there's 5 tips on your camping trip, and, you know, think about this for the fall and check out this cool video. And then we have a database of tens of thousands of past renters and RV owners across the nation and stuff that we're constantly sending out you know, email campaigns and marketing too, and all that kind of stuff. So it might get a little confusing, you know, from the consumer side as for, okay, like, you know, are you Kingdom Campers? Are you Fireside? What are you? You definitely need an LLC in place because Fireside is going to pay you, you know, your pay to your LLC. Because the way that that works is basically because we have corporate agreements with the platforms. So like right now, like what do you pay RV Share for commission right now?
I think it's something like 27%.
Okay. So immediately when you partner with Fireside, your platform fee, no matter where the booking comes from, goes down to 15% because of our corporate agreements that we have. So with that being said, like your RV Share account, it will say, you know, Fireside. You'll have we have a dedicated account rep for RV Share that we can call 24/7 and helps, you know, where you see people posting in the Facebook groups like, oh my gosh, I have this issue. I can't get a hold of nobody. What's going on? I need help right now. You know, we don't have those issues because we have, you know, we're their largest customers. So, so there's a lot of, you know, benefits that come with being, and that was my big thing when I started was, my big saying was it's the power of partnership, right? It's having that huge collaborative effort. We can go to someone like RV Share and say, hey, this is what we need. This is what we want. And they listen because, you know, we're their top customer. So,
Yeah.
but I can see what you're saying on the other side though, because it's like, dang, man, that's kind of rough. Like you know, I've been working on building Kingdom Campers and, you know, you might have a website or some of those things in place. And it's like, what does that look like? So if you want to continue to put efforts into that stuff, you're definitely more than welcome. But it's kind of wasted energy, in my opinion, because we have a website for you specific to your branch, and you know, all that stuff is just in place, you know. So you don't have to worry about creating content, none of that stuff. It's all done for you.
Okay.
And we've definitely had a couple people who, just for that simple fact, it's like, they just couldn't let go of that, you know, as far as sometimes, you know, it's like kind of like it's like God saying, hey, let go of this because I got that for you. You know, it's like one of those things of, all right. But maybe what we have to offer people isn't necessarily that of what they're looking for next, you know,
Yeah.
you know, so it all comes down to what's your goals, what's your vision, what's your plans, you know.
Okay. So to tie off of that then, sorry, I should have finished chewing before I started talking.
Oh, you're good. Take your time, man. I'm kind of running behind like you. It was funny because actually we came home. I'm like, yeah, we got a relaxed day today. I normally don't do stuff on Saturdays, but I felt bad about yesterday. I'm like, all right. And then you got a busy next week. So I like went out in my hammock. I took a little nap. I just about finished this book I was reading. Then I went and sat in the sauna for 30 minutes. Then I did a cold plunge. You ever heard of cold plunges?
Yep.
Then I went and did a cold plunge. And then I went and sat on my chair. I'm like, all right, I think I'll go do a puzzle with my girl for a little bit. And I'll go sit and talk. And then I saw your text. I was like, oh crap, I totally forgot. It was kind of funny where you're like, yeah, I'm running behind. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Well, that worked out then.
So,
so you said, you know, kind of based upon what my goals and all that are. So one of my goals that I set probably about a year ago is I want to increase this business. My goal is to sell it. I had a time frame. Now it's kind of been mixed around, but I want to sell it within a few years.
okay.
And so I guess what would be I know I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse and everything, but that's kind of my long-term vision is to sell this business. So how would that work?
Yeah, that's awesome, man, that you're thinking like that. So we've actually had several Firesides start, scale, and sell. It's kind of cool because some of our Firesides, before we were like a actual franchise opportunity, you know, like regulated by the FTC and trademark and all that stuff, they were just what we called branches. or what my attorney called licensees. So once we became a official franchise and then everybody rolled into the franchise model and signed the franchise agreement, one of the cool things for them was, like my first location I ever launched, my first branch was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. He paid me $995 was his startup fee, and then it went to 2,500 and then 10 grand and then 25 grand. And now we're at 50,000. And the cool thing for our franchisees was immediately they literally went to a valuation, no matter where they were at least $50,000, because that's what it costs to start a franchise. But as far as selling a franchise, like Tammy, who's our franchise support manager, and then she has a team that works under her to support you. And then Stacy, who's our CMO, who runs all of our marketing and stuff. She was also a franchisee. They both sold their franchises and now work with me on kind of the corporate side, you could say. And yeah, they started, scaled, sold, did well on selling, and now they work with me. As far as what does that look like between Fireside and you if you were to sell the franchise to somebody else? The only thing like monetarily that it means is there's a $5,000 transfer fee that you pay for us to bring on the new person, do all the onboarding, walk them through our Fireside Fast Track training, which has all the videos, checklists, quizzes, all that jazz. But yeah, I mean, you're literally have a franchise opportunity that you'd be selling to somebody, that's nationally recognized. Stacy actually sold hers, I think, on a website called Franchise Gator, I think is the name of the website. So she listed her franchise opportunity on this website, got a bunch of interest. She actually, it's kind of cool because the guy that bought her franchise has already opened a second location with us and is working on a third. He ran the #2 camping world in the country. Like literally Marcus Lemonis called him when he resigned to try and get him to stay. So it's kind of cool that we have that under our belt, that, that guy is part of our team now. So anything that just adds value to you selling, because you're not just saying, hey, here's this business, run with it. You're saying, hey, here's the business. Here's your franchise support team. Here's our contact information. Here's your rep. Here's the CMO that you work with. Here's Molly that does all the accounting for you. Because literally what happens with, on the accounting side, which is really cool, is everything comes through us. So all the platforms, they pay all the money in through us. We pay you we take our royalty, and then we pay you your commission. We pay the owners for you. So that's something you don't have to do. At the end of the year, we 1099 the owners for you. So you don't have to worry about having an accountant handling all the books, doing all the P&Ls, issuing all the 1099s. We make sure all that's done with all that and all the taxes and everything. So literally you're handing off not just, hey, here's my book of business, but here's your whole support team, So it just makes you that much more stronger when you go to exit. And two, you could come to us first and, we could market to see if somebody inside the Fireside family wants to, buy it or whatever.
Okay.
What would you do in a couple of years when you sell it?
So one of my big goals I have so many things going on that I'm trying to figure out like how I'm going to place things. But right now I'm working to become one of the pastors of our church. And so along with that also is I want to kind of mentor to, older teens. So the late teens, the young adult situation, and then also like the young men situation. I have a heart for that in the ministry.
Okay.
And so I want to focus on that eventually. Then also I want to focus on my veterans course. So I'm designing the course right now for veterans. And so that's going to be one of my other focuses. I have, once I sell the business, and my goal is to sell the business for $10 million or more. So that's my goal, my focus, what I'm looking to build it to where I could then evaluate it at that and sell it for that. I want to build a trade school that's mainly designed to assist veterans that goes along with my veterans course.
Okay.
So trade school, the welding, the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, all the typical trades that I feel like are they've been falling off the last couple years, decade more, and so I want to focus on that. And it's more than just that. Also, I have a guy in our church who's a licensed therapist, and so we're going to do kind of a tri-court system for the veterans where they get the schooling, they get the mental aspect, and then we'll also provide the physical aspect of a gym and that kind of stuff, so that when someone comes to us, it's not just coming to school. They're coming for a holistic approach of everything that they could be going through as a recently transitioned veteran. So that's one of my big goals is that. And then also the next step is I want to build co-working spaces with apartments above it. So large multifamily mixture of that. So quick breakdown of my weird, crazy, outlandish goals that I plan to get to. So
No, those sound like good goals. More importantly, they sound like God goals, man. And they should feel a little crazy because that means there's the God element in them, right? That
Yeah.
you just couldn't accomplish that in your own strength and stuff. So that's cool, man. Those are the kind of people that we're looking for. I don't know how much my webinar you call it, but we've been getting really granular lately. Like we're looking for very specific kingdom-minded Christian entrepreneurs that have vision and purpose, and because those are the people that I want to work with. And it's kind of like what you're saying. Like, yeah, Fireside is like the vehicle to help you generate the income, but that's like the tip of the iceberg for me. It's helping people in all aspects of life, of having an amazing marriage and being a phenomenal parent and helping their kids to have, a plan and a purpose and direction for their life. And like we homeschool our 4 kids and do everything together and are training them to just be, world changers. And so that's awesome, man. I love to hear what you got going. So are you a veteran then, or?
Yeah, I did 6 years in the Air Force.
Okay.
I'm actually trying to rejoin the military as a chaplain right now.
Okay.
But we'll see how that goes. I got to shed some more weight. And then I'm actually 100% rated disabled from the VA. And so my recruiter is kind of reluctant to think that I could actually get back in because of that. So.
Gotcha. That'd be another God testimony. So, we have several veterans that are franchisees, I think 4 or 5. And 2, with this being a franchise opportunity, there's probably funding for you as a veteran to start a franchise. I think Gabby in Georgia, who's a veteran, she just got some sort of funding because they just got a huge piece of property to expand their Fireside franchise. And I think it was through some veteran funding that she found. So yeah, that'd be something to explore potentially.
Okay. Yeah. If I don't know if I know her offhand, but if there's any chance of getting connected with her, that'd be great.
Yeah. Let me make a note here. And then, what was I going to say? I don't remember. VA. Oh, that's what I was thinking. 2, with the building the business, scale it to sell it. One of my passions is helping you build things that become operable without you to where it's generating you revenue, like how cool would it be if you worked for that church and you didn't need a salary because you're like, no, I've got income coming from here. I've got income coming from there.
That's actually my desire is I want to be on staff and actually pay them what they would be willing to pay me instead. I don't want to be a line item on the staff paperwork. I want to be the one that's providing a staff payment for someone else.
Yeah. So that could be a way to do that, so, and I'm not trying to change your plans or anything, just share thoughts that pop into my head as I hear your vision and stuff is, how cool that'd be to have this business from. Heck, you could even have veterans in there working, right? Doing deliveries and cleanings and That's a huge void in the market right now, man. RV repair techs.
Yeah.
And that's not a trade where you have to be licensed with all these hours under your belt. I mean, technically, you don't even have to be a certified tech. You could start RV repair shop tomorrow and niche in a couple things and do really well and bill $150 an hour. You know,
Yeah.
we have several of our franchises that the husband's a RV repair tech and the wife runs the RV side of the business. I've actually started and sold 2 RV repair shops out of my RV rental. I started one, grew it, and then I sold it. And I'm like, well, now I need more guys for this and that from my fleet because I had branch that I still owned up in Michigan with about 50 units. So it turned into another repair shop with storage and propane and dump stations and all that sales, and which is another side of the business too, is selling RVs for people on consignment. That's 15% is what they charge in this industry. It's every time I say it, it blows my mind because I do a lot of real estate as well. And you know, that's usually about a 6% commission.
Yeah.
So to think of a 15% commission on selling an RV is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, I mean, to dive deeper into where my vision thought where I would want to go is having storage yards. So I want to have 2 storage yards that within those I offer, the maintenance, the full maintenance of the people who are either storing their units there or who are, we have the management for the trailers. So I want to offer the maintenance out of that also. And then offering kind of like a white glove service we have a ton of snowbirds down here. So I want to offer
you're in Texas, right?
Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so I want to offer the white glove service to snowbirds if they're going to leave their unit here for when they leave. We'll completely summarize it, I guess, for them. We would summarize it for them, get it prepped and stored, and then when they come back, let us know. We'll get it, all the maintenance done. We'll make sure the tires are good. We'll get it all cleaned out and AC service and everything. And so when they show up, it's just a matter of, okay, their unit's good to go. We'll see you in a few months.
Yeah.
So that's another little aspect or little fee I would like to add in, as a way to generate more additional revenue.
Okay, gotcha. And now you've been renting your RV for how long?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. And you got one, or do you got a couple?
We have 2 that we personally own, and I'm picking up a management one next week. So
okay, awesome. Yeah, I was just talking to our rep well, I can't tell you, at one of the because they run reports for me and stuff. They're like, you can't share this data. Well, I can share the data, but I can't say where I got it. So one of our reps we were talking with the other day, because I have a guy in Mesa who got a hold of, RV Plus U. You heard of those guys?
RV Plus U.
Out of California. Okay. Their owner connected me with this guy out of Mesa who wanted to start a Fireside, but we already have one. But Christina in Mesa is considering selling hers to him and joining me with some other things we're doing. So anyway, this guy, I said, well, let me have my rep do some research for you. And she texted me the other day, and basically Phoenix, Tucson, and Kingman, she said, are the top 3 locations in Arizona. Phoenix is actually one of the top in the nation, she was saying. And she said the average net booking value is about $1,800. She did say it's fairly saturated around Phoenix. There's about 1,100 units. But she said that's a really good area. So anyway, but we actually had a branch in Phoenix. Guy Robert who does have you heard of arbitrage, Airbnb arbitrage?
Yeah.
So he does Airbnb arbitrage here in Phoenix. He started a Fireside. He got to about a half dozen units or so. And then he started running into issues with space to basically put them. And so it kind of was like one thing to the next. And then where he had them, he got violation from the city or something. And so we just ended up sending his units to different spots. And now he kind of works for us part-time doing coaching for people. And then he does the arbitrage. But what does your situation look like there as far as space for units?
Hold on one second. My kids just got home. So.
Okay, no worries. Hmm.
She comes running in screaming to say hi.
Oh yeah, that's like my 6-year-old. How old is she? She's like about 8 or so.
Yeah, she's 8. She'll be 9 in July.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I got
space
6, 8,
wise.
12, 14.
Okay. Yeah, we're 15, 8, and 5. So
Okay.
yep. So for space, at my house, I have both my units now that we own. And then the church I work for or work with or member of, they have storage yard, but it's kind of a weird situation. They used to do it to public, and then the county came in and said, well, you're not zoned for this, so you're not allowed to do it. But they still allow the church members to use the storage yard. So I asked
Okay.
them, is there a limit, like if I bring in more units? And they said, no, there's plenty of space. It's just a matter of like paying, or giving the donation for it. And then if they get rezoned, they might ask or request me to, reduce my units so that they can have other people come in. But that's, long down the line, if any. So
that's a blessing. So how many units could you get in there, Nick?
Their yard is probably nearly 10 acres.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
think they had it spaced off for, I want to say it's close to like 200, 250.
Uh-huh.
But as far as like me, I mean, I don't know how many I could actually take over or, get.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. That'd be interesting to see how that could work actually through a nonprofit.
yeah.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to see how all that could potentially work.
Yeah, because what they told me is it's like they can't demand a fee now, since it's not, they can't run technically the business of RV storage.
Uh-huh.
So they just kind of recommend a donation. And
Uh-huh.
so you just give like a suggested donation amount to the church, just as
Okay.
your offering.
Okay. So
yeah,
you could charge a fee, your LLC could charge a fee to the RV owner, and then you could make a donation to the church, probably, right? Like that arm's length, you think, or no?
that would probably work. So what I was doing with this first one was I on the contract I had that 5% of every rental payout was going to go into a fund that was going to cover storage fees and also like a maintenance slush fund, I guess. So
Okay.
I was just doing it that way. That way I'm not telling them, hey, you're paying for storage, but the rental fees that are coming in are going to eventually cover that. So
Yeah. What's the name of your church, if you don't mind me asking?
Our church is Epic Christian Church. So we rent.
Epic?
Yeah, so EPIC.
I love that. Epic.
And then the church we rent from is called Christ the Victor. And they're the ones that own the storage yard and everything. So
okay, so your church like shares the church's sanctuary, like different times and stuff?
Yep. Yeah,
Dude,
so they
that's
have their
kingdom
morning
right there.
services. Yeah, they have their morning services, and then we do a 4 p.m. service on Sundays, so that we don't overlap or anything.
What would the kingdom of God look like, man, if people did more of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like this, oh, this is our church and your church, and and yeah, those are the kind of things that get me excited when Christians think like that instead of that's cool.
Yeah, they've been phenomenal. So they're an older base population, a lot of snowbirds. So they don't have a lot of young families, but they've been very open and helping with us. They were
your
looking
church name is Epic Church?
Yeah, we're Epic Christian Church. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that a bunch of old people, how would they name it Epic Church?
Yeah, so the other
What's
one
the
there
name of
is
their church?
Christ the Victor Lutheran Church is there.
Okay, that sounds a little more old to me. Christ the Victor.
Yep.
Sounds a little more Gaithers to me.
Yep.
Awesome.
But yeah, they've been really happy to have us. As far as we can tell, like they were in conversation to sell their property because it's right along the railroad tracks. It used to be an 84 lumber, which was a huge lumber yard.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so a trust company out of Texas was going to buy them because they had they were going to build a spur right off of the train tracks there. And during the conversations, they came to our pastor and they're like, hey, we want to make sure you guys are included. If we sell this place, we don't want you to lose your facilities. Please come along during these conversations and negotiations to let us know what you guys need when we build the new church. So that was, for us, that was pretty great that they wanted to include us, and they were willing to spend their funds on what our desires were as well.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that just gets me thinking, how cool would it be to have some sort of something where all this works together, and this could be something that was presented to churches.
Yeah.
I mean, just the ministry that could be there, it could generate revenue for the church, it brings traffic to the church. I mean, yeah, right. We're always looking for creative ways to get people into church. I don't know. That gets my brain spinning.
And I'm hoping to find a way that our church's finances are pretty much only dependent upon our givings. And so I'm one of the lead that's in discovery of finding a way to increase our finances in a secondary business or whatever. And so I'm always trying to find ways that I can create a business that will then the church owns to then increase their finances off of, instead of just givings or tithes. And so I've been trying to figure out a way that this could be part of that as well. So
let me talk to my accountant, my attorney. I wonder if we could even what if we donated a franchise or something? Yeah, that would, I'm going to ask my attorney and accountant on that. If that's even if we did something okay, our franchise fee is 50 grand, but we donate 90% of it. We just have some for our swag and stuff like that we get you in the marketing materials and the training and all that kind of stuff. And then, and maybe even that could pass into the royalty, part of it being a donation. That'd just be a really cool thing to do, first of all. And it'd be just interesting to see all the things that could come out of that, right? I mean, I don't know. I just picture that'd be cool to see you got this church and you got these veterans out here cleaning campers and this and that. And then people coming in, you're doing the walkthrough, and we're a Christian company. So hey, can we pray with you before you go on your trip? Or, and then you have some cool stuff inside the campers, or check in. You have to check back in for the camper to be right Sunday at 4:00, right, when services. So you might as well come for service. And that's sweet, dude. That gets me excited. I'm going to ask about that. Donate a franchise. Awesome. What other questions you got?
I guess what is the I don't want to say the focus, but what is the biggest things that you guys hope from or try and teach franchisees? I know you do a lot of management style, right? Where you're managing other trailers. Yeah,
that's the whole business model. That's what God showed me right when I started this. It's other people's RVs.
Okay.
I mean, in our, we all own some RVs. We'll buy and sell. That's just kind of naturally part of the business. Somebody comes in with their RV and they want it managed, and you get to know them a little bit. Honestly, I just really want to sell this thing. Whatever. My husband passed away, or this or that. You end up buying it from them and getting a good deal, and then you rent it for the summer and turn around and sell it. Or, I've had RVs where we lease it from the nhưng. We don't even manage it. We lease it for a year because they're in a financial pinch and it helps them out. And then, you work that in the numbers. But that is the main business model. Is we are an RV rental management company. So we're not a rental marketing company. We let the platforms do that. We don't waste the data when it comes in. So if somebody lands on our website or our social media, or they rent from us, they're showing up, and we're showing up in their Facebook feed with retargeting ads, and we're emailing them ideas. They might have rented a camper for the summer to go on a camping trip, but then we're telling them, hey, people actually do this during Halloween, they go on like a fall color tour, they do tailgating, pull it upside your house during Thanksgiving for extra sleeping. So we're putting ideas in people's minds to think of other ways to use that units, and to being that we're so big, like we get insurance companies that reach out, hey, we had a house fire, we need RV next to the house for a couple months, or like during COVID, we did a contract with a power company with the NFL, so that's why I call it real estate, instead of real estate. It's not just, hey, we send people camping, even though that is part of what we do, but really our job is we're an RV rental management company. My job is managing this RV for you is to rent it out. So it's not just going to a campground. We're finding all kinds of clever ways to, rent it out, corporate events, this and that.
Yeah.
And then it's our services to you, the franchisee. So we don't ever interact with the renters. They might sometimes get through, somebody gets really mad about something and they'll find my phone number through a franchise opportunity. They'll get me on the phone, start chewing me out, and I'm like, hey, that's actually the franchisee that you're going to deal with. If you have an issue with them, you could, file your complaint and we'll make sure they're up to our code of ethics and stuff. But our job is to support you, the franchisee. We don't interact with the renters. So we give you everything you need as far as all the systems and the tools and the processes and the coaching. And, we're constantly like, we'll do master classes. Like Stacy just did a master class the other day on the best type of units, as far as what kind of units rent the best. When it comes to like insurance claims and disputes and that kind of stuff, we have somebody in our franchise support team that she's the expert in that. So she's got all the contacts for the insurance companies and the underwriters, and she knows how Safe Light works and how the interior damage protection works. She knows all those things. You're going to actually file the claim, but she's there to support you, so you can reach out to her. Hey, Jen, I've got this. It's okay. Make sure you send them this document, which our document stuff is just on point. Like we have an app that you put on your phone that literally tells you, take a picture of the front, take a picture of the side, take a picture of the tire, and it logs it in the system. So you have something come up down the road. It's all there filed up in the cloud for you, and you can access it and see all the timestamp photos and everything. So like when we have insurance claims and stuff like that with the platforms, it's usually just a simple airtight, unless you didn't do something on your end that we trained you to do. It's a very clear-cut airtight process. Like we don't lose disputes and claims and stuff like that, like you hear people complain about on the platforms. And then also, inside there, it's got maintenance reminders that are popping up, hey, unit number, 709 is due for an oil change. And that'll tell you based on the mileage and generator hours you're putting in from the other rentals. So that's it. That's our giftings, the systems and processes and tools. And then my support to you is more of, like you say, yeah, it's like a holistic, right? We don't want to just give you, yeah, here's the systems and process and everything. So mine, hey man, God dropped you on my heart this morning, man. I'm praying for you. How's situation going with your wife or daughter or family or this or that? Or, hey brother, you said this is one of your goals, right? You got to drop did you work out this week, man? Right? Like it's brothers, it's Christians holding each other accountable and building each other up. And that's where my passion and purpose and pursuit comes in. If you reach out to me about, hey Garr, can you help me with this form or whatever? I'm like, dude, I don't even know how to log into that anymore. Like you're going to have to talk to Jen or Tammy or Emma or Morgan or one of the office girls, So it's like that. It's, it's a holistic approach of it's not just this business, it's a tribe. Like we have our mantra for what a fire starter is. We have our acrostic of breaks down what is a fire starter. Those are my big passions. Like I'm putting together this family mantra challenge. I do it already with my kids are homeschooling, but I'll release it soon. And it's going to be a 3-day challenge. And it's basically like, why was I created? What are my giftings? What is my purpose based on my giftings? And how do I grow in my giftings to walk out my purpose? And we're going to do that with the families. And, Like my kids, I already know what my 8, 12, and 14-year-old are going to do. Like I literally, God has already shown me what their callings are. My 6-year-old, she's going to be a cotton candy singer girl, she tells us. So we're still trying to hone that in. But like my 14-year-old is going to be a missionary in Dominican. I already have a nonprofit set up for her. We take her there every year. We've got a bunch of sponsor kids. Like she goes to YWAM. Like we already know exactly what she's going to do. My 12-year-old, he's going to be a hunting and fishing guide for connecting fathers and sons. My 8-year-old he's going to be 10 times more of a businessman than me, and so anyway, I could go out on that for hours and hours. That's where you get me all fired up. So yeah, that's our thing. It's everything in one, it's all that, really a company should offer. I was just telling my wife that this morning, because we literally, nobody's W-2 anymore. They're all 1099, all of our employees. And the reason why is because you shouldn't be a W-2 for somebody. You should own an LLC. You should understand write-offs. You should understand tax benefits. Nobody should be able to tell you when to be and when to be there. So we literally just made all these changes in our company. At first everybody thought, oh, Garr, he's just trying to get out of, paying taxes and this and that. I'm like, that's what the government wants us to do. They want to know exactly where everyone's at. Take all this kind of money and this and that. No,
Yeah.
I want you to own an LLC and I'm going to show you how to do it,
Yeah. I know one of my internal hangups is I've started 20 businesses over the last 14 years. And I had one major one fail kind of towards the front of that. After my dad passed away, I got a big inheritance. I started the business that I shouldn't have. I still am emotionally distraught with my father's death. And so I had a terrible flame out with my business. And so I still struggle with my fear of failure. And I've been trying to get over that by building a successful business myself. And so I still have that personal hang up of, well, if I buy into Fireside, I'm not building a business, I'm just buying a business. And so I struggle with that internally, as one of my hangups. Money obviously is like my top level thing I say.
Yeah.
But getting down to the roots and being honest with you, that's one of my struggles. It's feeling like I didn't build a business. I'm just buying into this thing and kind of skirting under, what my desire is to do. So
Yeah, that's good. Hey, I appreciate you sharing that, man. Because that's first of all, that's good that you have taken, I always mess that word up, enough time to literally search inside yourself and find that root, of that, that really what it is you made an inner vow, right? That I will succeed in business and I will do it on my own, and that's, I'm proud of you for uncovering that, man, because not many people even take the time to go that deep and uncover that kind of stuff. So, I can say all kinds of things to convince you otherwise or this or that, but I just encourage you to keep seeking the Lord about that, because that wouldn't be the truth if you did succeed. And whoever succeeds on their own, that's just not the way that God designed it, right?
Yeah.
We were created to do things in community and collaboration. So really it would more just be that inner vow, right? That you made, that I'll do this and I'll do this on my own, which could you eventually do that? Yeah, but it's not going to have the same fulfillment really as you're thinking it's going to have.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to miss the opportunity to be a part of your story, to either encourage you or for you to encourage them. And it's just not the way that God designed it.
Yeah.
It's really not. That would be kind of like your pastor coming to you and saying, hey, I'm going to build this church on my own. You probably say, all right, honey, it's time to start church shopping, because the pastor's gotten to a little bit of pride here.
Yeah.
Because it's, that's been one of the things I just put a post out on Facebook the other day to people, like with COVID and all that, like God just impressed it hard on me to just put on Facebook that it's time to get back into corporate worship. It's time to get back into the word corporately. Like there's so many people that got used to doing things on their own, almost kind of making this vow, right? Like, no, I can do this on my own. I don't need to go to a church to be a Christian. You know, I don't need to do this to be a Christian and that. And that's just a lie from the enemy, man. We were created for community.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that the enemy tries to do, right? Is isolate us. That's the first tactic he has, is to isolate you. And then once he isolates you, he can start whispering those things to you, and you have no person to bounce those ideas and thoughts off, because you've been isolated. You know, so
Yeah.
Hopefully you see my heart. I'm not trying to say that to talk you into joining Fireside. I'm trying to say that as one brother to another, that you and I both know that, you know, that's not the truth and reality of how God decided. Could you do something amazing on your own? Probably, because we're created in God's image, and so we can do anything we put our mind to, but what's the purpose?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's something that, like I said, I've been struggling with for many years, and I've heard so many talks, and I've never really divulged that to anyone else. Just because I've never really gotten to that point of wanting to. But there's always been the talk of, you know, what if, you know, doing X, Y, or Z cut off 5 years of your learning experience, and you're doing what you wanted 5 years next week. Like, you know, I've had that conversation with people, and not directed just to me, but like in, you know, large corporate settings. And, you know, so I understand me wanting to do this, you know, I could get to the point where I now, you know, have a proper system in place. I have the proper documents in place. I have, you know, whatever. Is that going to take me 4 years? You know, when, if I were to, you know, join with Fireside, I now have that next week, you know, so, you know, and then I can become a bigger impact. I can become, you know, a better producer. You know, the stress of having to determine what I need is then relieved. And then, you know, the co-side to that is then, you know, now my family gets a better Justin, because I'm no longer stressing about, you know, what stinking form I need to have or document or whatever. So I do mentally know that it's terrible to have, not terrible, but having that will lengthen my point of getting to where I want to be. But it's still that, you know, the inner struggle of that. So
well, that's where you just take that faith over fear step, you know. That's I had a guy from, actually in Tennessee the other week, that reached out, and he had started this like mountain biking kind of business, and he scaled it and sold it for a lot of money. And then he went back into corporate America, and it was like weeks in, and he was just miserable. And then he reached out. It was another referral from RV Plus U in California. And he started looking into this RV management deal, and he found one of their blog posts or something. And so he got connected to me, and he's like, well, I'm a successful entrepreneur, and I did this all on my own, blah, 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 you know, and scaled this business. So he's like, why don't I partner with you? And I said, you know, first of all, I'm not here to convince you to work with me, you know. And then second of all, I said, the reason you would partner with me is because you're a successful entrepreneur, and successful entrepreneurs understand if you can cut a check for speed, the only asset that we don't have more of is time.
Yeah.
You know, when people say time is money, it's like, no, that's actually not true. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. Money's, you know, money. Time, literally, you have an allotted amount of time. You have 24 hours in a day, same as I do. You might have $10 million in your bank account. I got $1 million in my bank account. But one thing you don't have more than I is time. We each have 24 hours a day. And that's one of the things, like this guy that I've been following on Facebook a lot lately, Tony Robbins. He's got all these ads that are showing up in my Facebook feed now, and his saying is decade in a day. You know, he's been doing what he does. The guy's a billionaire. He's fed over 1 billion people this year. And that was his goal, to do it in 5 years. But because he has so much influence and so many people in his sphere, he literally accomplished that goal in 1 year, to feed 1 billion people. In his coaching program, that's the tagline, decade in a day. Like, that's why you would pay Tony Robbins 50 grand to work with him.
Yeah.
Because he can literally give you a decade's worth of experience in 1 day.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, yeah, you nailed it on the head, dude. It's literally, that's why I say the power of partnership. But everybody, and that's why I think it's so cool what your church is doing with that other church. Everybody's so hell bent on, is that something Christians can say, hell bent? Everybody's so hell bent on like my church, your church, my business, your business, my this, your that. Like it's, man, if we all were like, no, there's this overall goal that we all have. My wife and I have actually been coming into this lately with having a 14-year-old daughter. Like we've been having these struggles because I have like when they're little, right? It's like, it's all the same. Like you change the diaper, don't do this, do that, stop crying. Like it's all the same things. We're very united. But once they become a teenager, dad has something different to offer than mom.
Yeah.
And so lately we're like, okay, are we on the same page here still? We realized we were, because our same goal is we're trying to point them to Jesus and to know God and make him known. But now that she's a 14-year-old teenager, I have a different tactic than mom has, because I have something now. What I have to bring is different than what you have to bring, but we still have the same vision. So it's crazy how that stuff all ties together.
Yeah. Now as far as like territory, you said there's someone in Mesa already.
Yeah, so we have our location in Mesa. Yep.
What is the restriction as far as territory goes?
So territory is really simple, because this is one of the things about, and you've, from having a couple RVs, you'll totally get this already. Some people that are in this industry already don't understand it. Territory is really simple, because you're going to have renters literally in Arizona, Phoenix. You're going to have renters literally coming from all around the world, right? Have you had international travelers like
Not international,
El Monte
I've had out
around
of
you?
states.
From around the States?
Yeah.
Okay. So like once you get into a larger amount of units, like Christina in Mesa, she's got probably close to 50 units, I'm guessing by now. So they literally have travelers come from all around the world, like El Monte, that's, that's in Phoenix. That's all they mainly do is work with international travel agencies. So your renters come from everywhere. Your RV owners that come for management, being in Arizona, literally come from everywhere. Like Christina had somebody from Canada bring her an RV down, or maybe that was Texas, Canada to Texas. So those come from everywhere. The way a territory works is basically would mean you wouldn't have another Fireside within a 10-mile radius of you. So basically there wouldn't be another, brick and mortar. And honestly, in Phoenix too, I'd probably want to check with our attorney on that. I don't even know if it would be 10 miles. I'd just say 10 miles. I could commit to that, because it's such a population there. It's actually in your benefit to have several Firesides, because that just helps with the brand awareness. And so, but yeah, that's how the territories work.
And I'm technically Santan Valley is where I'm at also. I'm not in Phoenix Metro. I'm in a suburb of, so
like, let me look it up. Like, what's your church address there where the RVs would be?
6173 East Arizona Farms, I think.
East Arizona Farms, Florence, Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's technically Florence, but it's close.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, so yeah, you're kind of like, you're actually right in between, or Mesa's like right in between you and Phoenix, it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close.
Gotcha. Okay.
We're like dead south of Mesa, Apache Junction.
Okay. Yeah, we come there usually once, sometimes twice a year, because my dad lives down there. So we'll go to Sedona,
Okay.
Apache Junction, do all the fun different things there.
Yeah.
We spent 5 years traveling the US in our RV. So we went all through Arizona and parts of California and stuff. So, okay, cool. Yeah.
Sorry, I've been digging my tooth. I've been trying to get this. It's been stuck in between my teeth. I had a piece of spice in my teeth. I've been trying to get out. It's been bugging me.
No, it's all
That's
good.
why I kept digging in my side in my mouth there.
Uh-huh. No, it's all good. You said lunch. Get it?
So then also, I've been working with a lady who does like the Airbnb arbitrage, and one thing she was talking, we kind of like bounced ideas off was, I want to see if this would be something allowable through Fireside. I wanted to find someone in like Sedona who had like an empty lot or whatever. If I turned it into a stationary rental, is that, since it's not in my possession, it's elsewhere, is that turn into a problem?
So the only problem with that would be inside wheelbase. You know what wheelbase is, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So inside wheelbase, because we use wheelbase, inside a wheelbase, that might be a potential issue with the location. I'm sure we could probably work around it temporarily, but long-term, like if somebody went to purchase, like if they did a territory check on Sedona, then you would have to work out an agreement with them where it's like, okay, that's their location, and maybe you have a unit station there and you get a percentage of the revenue, something like that, which franchisees do really good on working on all that. Because like, especially with you being in Arizona, like Molly in Colorado, guys in the other states, what they'll do is come wintertime, they'll try to send their units to, warm weather state. And then you can kind of hand pick like class Bs. I always recommend get as many class Bs as you can, because those rent super long for super high rates.
And that's like the transits and the sprinters, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, those are the highest demand, the lowest inventory. Heck, I had one in Michigan. I was getting almost $500 a night for a class B, and the average rental on it was like 12 days. And they're super good renters because it's like all professionals, doctors, this and that, so they take really good care of it, super high quality renters. So yeah, those are the things where it's like, it could definitely work, but it might be something we have to get strategic on down the road.
Now with that, I guess if it happens, could I block out that trailer in the wheelbase platform and move it to like the Airbnb stationary rental platform instead? Is that something that's allowed through Fireside?
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as the only issue is just like when somebody goes on to the different RV rental websites and they see the territory, because again, with the territory that you have, it's basically you wouldn't have another Fireside within that radius of you. But if you were doing the Airbnb stationaries, have you done any stationaries yet or no?
No.
Okay. Just so you know, we did a beta test on them several different times, locations. Nothing really seemed to come of them, because what we found is typically people that are renting an RV, they're first picking out like what they're doing, the campground, where they're going, this or that. And then secondly, they're looking for an RV. But who knows? I mean, it's definitely something we're testing, but from the test that we did here and there, it never seemed to be where, and somebody could go on Airbnb and rent an RV for $150 a night, or they could find a house for a similar rate. So it's like, us as RVers, we're like, oh yeah, that's cool, I'll stay in an RV. Renters as Airbnbers are like, yeah, I'm not going to pay the same amount to stay in a travel trailer.
Yeah.
But you never know. Especially if it's a cool scenery, right? It's a cool location.
Yeah, that was more the desire, is finding, the amazing locations like the Red Rocks in the background, or like Oak Creek Canyon where you're, right on the river. The location is more of what my thought of the desire would be, versus just somewhere to place your head.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's, again, that's something that could be worked out long down the road. And it was just a thought that we were going down. We were both bouncing ideas off each other. So
yeah, well, that's one of the cool things about being part of the Fireside family and having done this for years and with locations everywhere, is some of these things. It's like we try it, but who knows? I mean, you could throw one in that area and it be a total hit, But yeah, there's been different things. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the best idea. I can't believe it. I'm going to do it. And then I do it. And nobody thought it was as cool as I did.
Yeah. Have you guys done another thing we had talked about? She does a lot with is it's called Furnish Finders. So it's like the traveling nurses stuff. Have you
Yep.
guys done any of that stuff?
Yeah, I own Airbnbs as well. So that's where we beta tested different things like that. And when you get the nurses that are making the good money as traveling nurses, one of the things they like is they want to be in a nice house with as many amenities as possible and potentially a pool and this and that. Like that's part of like why they're living that lifestyle, you know. So we have tested those, the
Okay.
furnished finders out.
Okay.
Yeah. I love Airbnb, by the way. That's fun. I'm looking for Airbnbs around the country. So where it makes us money, but then we can also go stay at them.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, it's something I'd like to get into eventually. I've been in real estate for a long time also, and it's just cost wise for myself, trailers were a little easier of an entry point. So
Yeah. Yeah. And with my real estate, I've always kind of like, the real estate is OPRV. For real estate, it's always been OPM, other people's money. So I've always, you know, I have good presentations and I'll go out and I'll find guys with money sitting in retirement, show them how to put it into a self-directed Roth IRA. That's how when I got into this business, where I was able to scale so quickly because I had all the systems and processes and, you know, all that kind of stuff already as far as understanding rentals and the whole. So it was a really quick transition for me to, you know, that's how I got the attention of RV Share and them also quickly. Like, hey, you literally just went from 20 to 40 units in like weeks. Like, what's going on? What are you doing? You know, like,
yeah. All right. I think that's exhausted most of my concerns or questions at this point. So
okay. Awesome, man. Well, let me do some research on my side to see what that would look like with the nonprofit, like partnering with the nonprofit. I guess you might need to look in that too a little bit on your side to see how would that even look if like your church owned the Fireside franchise instead of you. Maybe that isn't as advantageous. Maybe you actually own the franchise, but then have some sort of agreement with the church. I don't know. So if you want to kind of think that through a little bit on your side as well too. Did you get the franchise disclosure document from me?
I believe I did. And then when I canceled, I think I just kind of let it go. So I think it's in the original email I got with the first setup. I believe so.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so go ahead if you want to find that or let me know and I can resend it to you. And then basically towards the top, it'll have a summary page. And that's something that the FTC made to where it basically gives you like, hey, look on these pages for the main bullet points. And then you can start reading through those as far as like, those are the main bullet points of what you want to look at when you get a franchise opportunity presented to you. And then we can kind of keep the conversation going on the money side. For me, it's all about the right partners. It's not so much about the franchise fee. You know, the franchise fee is great because it allows us to pour a ton of money right back into our expansion and marketing and all that kind of stuff. But it's more about the right partners and then the long-term partnership. So, you know, if the partnership makes sense, we can figure out the money side. That's not a big deal. And one of the reasons why we set it at 50 grand now is because we want it to turn away a bunch of people. We want people that, you know, very motivated and serious to say, man, I want to do this so bad. Help me figure out the money side. And then I see that motivation and then we take those steps, you know, so.
Okay.
Cool, man.
I just did remember. So a few things. During the presentation, you said it was the 9,000 or essentially the 10,000 was like a down payment, and then the rest was an over the time period. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's
total.
So the total franchise fee is $50,000. That's basically our lowest tier that we put on the franchise presentation. It's 9,950. And then the rest is broken out into a monthly payment. Off the top of my head, I forget now. I think it's like $1,500 a month for 30 months. or the other one is half down and then a payment plan, or pay in full for like a 10% discount. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out for myself, like, I guess I guess it depends on what happens with what you find out as far as with your attorneys and accountants. And I'm kind of curious what your thought is on that. Your thought was to create a gift for the church, and then I like managed it, or I guess what was your thoughts
Yeah,
on
so my
that?
thought when you're saying, well, the church actually has the lot, this, and that, kind of how we talked about, how would it all mesh together? Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went, was like, oh, that'd be sweet if a church actually owned the company and it was a money-making activity for them. Then I could actually have part of the franchise fee actually be a donation. But I don't know how that, since you're not actually the church that I'm talking to right now, it adds one more layer. So that might not be a desirable option for you. I don't know how close your relationship is with, the church and you coming on staff and all those kind of things,
Yeah.
So that'd be something I guess you'd have to figure out a little bit of that on your end. But if that was something we could continue exploring, then that might actually be a possibility. Or then, yeah, we go to the other side of, well, no, you would actually want to own the Fireside, to kind of have that control over that part of it. And, but then your LLC works closely with the nonprofit, so, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I think that's what my idea was I would own the franchise,
Yeah.
and then just with that I would have donations going to the church, or my whatever. So I just don't know how that would work, especially if like you had just said, if I went on to staff, if I did that, a lot of my plans, if I don't go back to the military, there's the VA has a program where it's called vocational rehabilitation, where they would actually pay for me to go get my master's, for my master's of divinity, to then become a ordained minister.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
if I'm on staff already, then my job is already a pastor, and so they won't pay for my schooling to then for that. So I
Oh,
need
the
to,
veterans thing wouldn't, okay.
yeah. So I need to make sure that until I figure out what's going on, I don't get listed as a staff member, or anything like that at this point, because
That
then it
makes sense, okay.
changes that whole
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah,
So
okay. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, well, cool, man. Sounds like you're taking a bunch of steps of faith and seeing what door God opens, and I'm excited that you reached out. And I guess we'll just kind of keep the conversation going. I'll shoot you a message here off this. Hey, do you mind if I use this for others to see? I know you had shared something with me kind of private there. I could cut that out if you want, or,
no,
think
it's
that'll
fine.
encourage other people,
Yeah, it's totally fine. I don't think I shared anything too sensitive, as far as like names or anything. So
No, you didn't do that, and you
yeah.
didn't throw your social security number out there or anything. And hey, man, one of my favorite scriptures is we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And that's one of my things with church life is, man, if we need to get a little more real as church family and share our struggles and share our testimonies, or share really what we do is, as Christians, a lot of times we don't share the test while we're in it, right? We'll share the testimony on the other side when it's all good and we look all clean and polished and put together again. But
Yeah.
man, if we were sharing our test, well, which is kind of what you did, you shared like, this is something I'm in right now and I'm trying to walk through. That's powerful for us to do that, share in the middle. When it's well, I take that back though. It's kind of funny though. We do it when it's an illness, right? Because it's like something everybody can see. But when we have an inner sickness, feel like I'm getting this revelation as I'm sharing it. So I'm kind of like, oh, this is cool. Like when we have these inner things that people can't see because they're not physically, like we're not going through cancer and people can't see it physically on us. We're not as open to sharing those things. But man, we need to be, because that's what helps us just stay open and naked and raw in front of each other. Like,
Yeah.
like we're supposed to be, naked and unashamed and like this is where we're at. So,
Yeah.
oh man, I just got myself excited.
I guess
But-
one last thing as far as if I move forward, I don't foresee myself having that down payment available. Are there, besides that, you talked about the lady earlier out of Georgia? Besides her, do you have any other places that I can, I guess, kind of look towards for potential ways to generate the funds to come up with this down payment, I guess?
Yeah, I've got a couple ideas for you.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was, when I was saying I'll message you off this, just because I'm using this for, you know how people are like, well, I don't know, you did this for Justin.
Yeah,
I mean,
I totally understand. Yeah.
So I've got a couple ideas. I'll message you when we get off here.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna make it. We're gonna figure it out. Because
Okay.
again, it's more about people and alignment and stuff than it is about, you know, hey, I got to get that $50,000, you know, before we can, you know, let you into the family. So, cool. All right, brother. I've got some notes here. I'm gonna follow up. Yeah, I'm headed to a mental health fundraiser here. Like literally, I got to leave in 9 minutes.
Okay.
So I got these notes. So I'll probably reach out tomorrow sometime. I'll message you with these ideas and next steps.
That's fine.
So,
Yeah. So what you just talked about also with the sharing the test in the time period. I don't know if you've seen, but I've been giving sermons lately, and my next sermon is actually June 11th. And so I feel like that is actually going to be able to be a portion of my test, the sermon as well. You know, making sure that we do share while we're in it. My topic is anger, is a topic I'm going to be going over. And so I feel like that can really be portioned well with that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be in my notes already to make sure and look towards. So.
And I'm sure I bet you do a good job of delivering it. I can tell as we're talking, like I see you processing thoughts, like you're like very analytical thinker. So I'm sure you have very good sermons that are very right? Like people can follow them, understand it. Your points are very practical and applicable and stuff. So I bet you do a real good job of that.
Try to.
Awesome, man. Just make sure you cry while you're talking, okay? Nothing moves me more than, do you know Francis Chan?
Yeah.
Nothing moves me. I love Francis Chan, man, because that guy, he literally repents every week from when he preaches. He's like, I got to repent, church. The Lord showed me this and that. He just gets all, and I'm like, that's what the church needs, man, is pastors just coming up on stage and just ripping their chest open and just sharing all their junk and crap and being vulnerable and real and raw, because that's what people relate to, right?
Yeah.
Not a polished preacher that's just like a perfect sermon on how to do this and that, because it's like people just leave thinking, yeah, that was really cool, but I can never obtain that. And then they just, so yeah. So just promise me you'll cry on June 11th when you're preaching.
I'll just sprinkle some water on my face. Just...
Yeah. So all right, brother. It was great to talk to you, man.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate you you having the time and the availability. So
yeah. All right. Have a good weekend, brother.
all right, man. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.